Hello and welcome to another episode of Defending the Boys. I am your host, D. Will, and it's off-season time. It's a little bit of off-season time, so we have a few things to talk about as we have been doing. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about free agency. I'm really wanting to talk about Trey Hendrickson. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a little conversation about Trey Hendrickson and basically the possibility of him coming to the Dallas Cowboys. Let me just be honest with you. There's a big possibility that the Cincinnati Bengals may find a way to actually keep Trey Hendrickson, right? So they could franchise tag him and force somebody to trade if they wanted to go that route, and that would probably be way smarter than just letting him go in free agency, right? So what we're talking about really is just, wishful thinking, maybe, just a little wishful thinking, but it could happen. It definitely could happen. And that's what we're going to talk about is how. Because a lot of people are saying, man, how are we going to do that? We've already had these conversations. We're already so far behind. And there's been an update since the last video that I did when I talked about how far upside down we were at because we got rid of Trayvon Diggs. And that obviously cleared up a few spending. And there are still some cap hits that we had to take because of that. But we definitely saved some money there. We can definitely do a lot of the same things, which, again, what we talked about was restructuring Dak Prescott's contract, right? We talked about restructuring a number of people's contracts, and you can go back and watch that video as well, just how we can create space. The question then becomes, can you create space for Trey Hendrickson and keep a George Pickens? And I think the answer to that is very much so yes, right? Because Jerry Jones said that he could have kept George Pickens and Micah Parsons. We know that both of those things could have happened. So yes, we can definitely make those things happen. We can definitely keep George Pickens and bring in a Trey Hendrickson. Now, what you would probably want when you start talking about cap hits and the plethora of things that the Dallas Cowboys actually need to do in this offseason, you would probably not want to bring them in on one-year deals. You probably do not want to franchise tag George Pickens. You probably want to sign him for a number of years so that you can spread your cap hit out. You probably want to do the same thing with Trey Hendrickson, right? You probably don't want to just sign him on a one-year deal. You probably want to sign him on a long-term deal, and that could be kind of expensive. So what is he making? $29 million right now. I think $30 million if you include his bonuses. And his franchise tag would be somewhere around 34, 35 million. That's the franchise tag on him. So I would assume that if a team was going to be picking him up, that they're going to have to pay at least in that range. And that means that we're right back into looking at, is it worth paying $40 million for the right edge, right? And so that's one of the things that a decision would have to be made on. And you'd probably be looking at like 3 years, $105 million. I mean, that's a huge contract. And I think that's where maybe some of the hesitation comes from a lot of people saying, I don't know if that's what we want to do. But let me just tell you or think about something with you, right? I was listening to Fish and I was listening to Brian Broaddus. A lot of those guys that are inside of the Cowboys organization, right? And they have a belief that Jerry Jones is feeling that old man creeping in, right? And he wants to win another Super Bowl, but at his age, he's looking at how many years he's actually going to have. I mean, let's be honest. And I'm not wishing nothing bad upon Jerry Jones, but even if he can make it another 6 or 7 years still, in good health and moving around and able to run a team, even if, right? How long do you have with Dak Prescott and what's after him? That is an unknown. I'm not saying that we won't get anything after him, but as of right now, that is an unknown, right? The quarterback that you have backing him up now hasn't shown you that he's the quarterback of the future. He has some of those attributes, but he hasn't put them all together yet, right? So Jerry could be looking at, man, look, I got 2 years, 3 years at the max. I got to make something happen. And if that's the mindset that you're really in, then let's sign the player. Let's sign him. Let's front load this whole thing up, or back load this whole thing up, so that we got all the players now and we pay for it later. Get the Super Bowl, and after that, we got trouble. We might have to do a rebuilding again or something. But if that's really your thought process, that you want to win a Super Bowl and you got 2 to 3 years to do it, then Trey Hendrickson is absolutely the move. Max Crosby is the one that everybody is talking about. But Max Crosby, from a trade situation, is going to be a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, 12 for Max Crosby, they can have him right now. And we just got to give up the number 12 pick, and we get Max Crosby, they can have it. We can do it. We can do it right now. Sign me up. I'm ready. I would assume that they would want more. And honestly, if that more was like number 12 and Jalen Tolbert, I swear for God, we can do that right now. I'm talking about right now. We can do that right now. No questions asked. Number 12, Max Crosby. Y'all think it'll work? No, probably not. Probably not. Nah. That's probably not going to work. You're right. You're right. The honesty about it is Jalen Tolbert. Trash! Yeah, he's trash. Jalen Tolbert. Okay, he's not trash. I back that up. He's not trash. Nobody's trading for him, though. I mean, we're not putting him in the trade package with number 12 and getting Max Crosby out of that. Honestly, they probably want a much bigger package. They probably want George Pickens and the number 12 in order to be able to get, or maybe the number 20 with George Pickens. It's just a lot when you can get Trey Hendrickson. And you can probably get Trey Hendrickson with some negotiation prowess and spreading the money out over a certain amount of time and coming in. And now you still got both of your draft picks. You can go cornerback first and then linebacker. Now you got to edge your defense. I mean, you need a safety, but your defense looks a lot better. And I've already said we don't have the worst safeties in the league. We went back out there with Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker. I'm not upset, especially if we got Trey Hendrickson and we got C.J. Allen or something like that. And we got a good cornerback. I don't even know which cornerback we would get, but if we could get the one that would make sense. What's his name out of LSU? Delane, Mansour Delane. Yeah, that'd be the one. That'd be the one. That would definitely be the one. Man, I don't know what else to say to you other than it would be great to have Trey Hendrickson on this football team. It absolutely would be. And I think that we could pull it off. I think we can make it happen. I think it's something that is a possibility, especially if we're in a position that I feel like we're in. If we're in a position to where it's right now, it's win right now, then that is the type of edge. Somebody that has a motor that just keeps going, that has sneaky strength, that just be like, man, I can't believe he just did. He just did it. Trey Hendrickson has consistently been a sack leader for years. He's consistently there. Yeah, he might be behind Myles Garrett. He might be behind, another player or running behind a Micah Parsons and different things like that. But he's easily every year that he's been, especially with Cincinnati, because before that he was kind of behind another player. But since he's been with Cincinnati, he's been one of the top sack leaders in the league. And that would be an amazing feat with a good cornerback on your team. Putting him with, we have an offseason with a lot of these other players. I think Siobhan Revel will be a better cornerback next year than he was this year because he'll have an offseason behind him and he won't be in such a stupid scheme. I mean, I think the scheme had a lot to do with a lot of our players. And I think that, matter of fact, when you really think about some of these guys that's out here that's really saying that, man, we need, a lot of dogs. I think that there would be way more dogs on this football team if you had a scheme that they believed in. Kenny Clark wasn't a dog this year. Really, Quentin Williams was only a dog for a couple of games. I mean, the scheme was horrible. And I think that what you will see is that if you get a scheme that makes sense, that a lot of players will start to step up and you'll have better play out of those players. Does that mean I want to go exactly with what we had this year? No. Kenneth Murray was garbage. You've got to replace Kenneth Murray. And if I had to make a decision out of what I wanted to replace, the very first thing that I would personally replace would be linebackers. And so that's why everybody was talking about, number 12, Sonny Styles. I think I think that makes sense. I just feel like, for me in the draft portion of it, I feel like realistically, you get the cornerback that you want first, because the one cornerback that you would want, maybe two cornerbacks that you would want, will probably be gone by 20. Maybe not. Cornerbacks do slide. They slide. Sometimes we think they're going to go heavy. But every time we get ready to get the cornerbacks that we want, we know we needed a cornerback, and we go out there to get them. It seems like every time, right before I pick, they end up missing. I think if you get the cornerback that you want at 12, and there is going to be a linebacker that you can be happy with at 20. That's what I think. And if you can fix edge and possibly even safety in the offseason, we'll talk about a couple of the safeties that's out there. I mean, and there are other edges. Khalil Mack is out there. There's other edges that are free agents. Trey Hendrickson would be the one that I would want to go with, though. That would be the number one edge, in my opinion, that you'd want to go to. Again, I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't know if Cincinnati's going to let him go. They struggled and fussed and fought about last year, and they only came up with a 1-year deal. Then he got hurt for a big piece. I don't know if they're going to keep him. I don't. And if he's available to be gotten, I'm going to be upset, but I'm going to say this. We can keep talking about the front office of the Cowboys don't make moves. I think that time period is over with. I think starting last year, we saw them make moves. People weren't happy about the moves with Javonte Williams, right? But he turned out not to be so bad. And then Miles Sanders turned out to be horrible, but still, that's literally some moves. I would take two people, but one of them got a hit. We understand that we're not perfect, but one of these two guys got a hit. One of them hit, and they did it. They went out there and did that, right? Went out there and got George Pickens, traded for him. That's big. That's them making big moves in the offseason, making big moves right at the trade deadline. They've shown that they're back to making those type of moves. We went through almost 2 decades of not making that. Back when we was winning the Super Bowl, these kind of moves we was making. I remember when Jerry got here, Jimmy Johnson got here, yeah, he came in and went trade happy. I think he had like 30, 40, 50 trades or something like that. Because he knew he had to bring in the players that he needed, right? We are not the same time. That team was like 1-15. So, yeah, you need to get rid of everybody. Had a bunch of old players that people just love because they had the name. But, yeah, Jimmy had to do some things. We aren't necessarily in that position right now, but we are in a position of where we need a lot. We need to go out and get those things so that we can have an opportunity. I feel like Jerry Jones used to do that back in the day. I feel like Steven kind of slowed him down. All that gambling was bad for you. They thought they was going to lose the house with all the gambling that he was doing. But I think right now he's in a situation where, like, man, look, I'm only going to be here for 3 years at the max. I got to win a Super Bowl while I got a Super Bowl caliber opportunity. Because Dak Prescott, after he's gone, we don't know who we got. And a lot of people Don't be in my comments. Please don't be in my comments talking about you can't win with Dak Prescott. Yes, you can. We've won plenty with Dak Prescott, and these are just football games. And I've seen him win big games. I've seen him lose big games. I get upset at Dak Prescott just like everybody else, but we're not going to act like there's a whole lot of possibilities of others. Like, we need to sit him down and start who? Who is it that we're going to go out and get? So I don't really want to have those conversations. But I will say that Trey Hendrickson is definitely a difference maker. And he could be a difference maker for this team if the Cowboys decide they want to go get him. That's all I got for you. This has been Defending the Boys. I am your host, D. Will. I'm out. I'll see y'all next time.